Welcome to the Prep Athletics Podcast. This is Cory Heitz.
Some battles. I'm not sure if they got us. If they did, maybe.
So you will get better as a player during that year.
So it was kind of exciting. Like, oh yeah, somebody wants me.
Welcome to this bonus episode of the Prep Athletics Podcast. And today what I want to talk about is there not being a crystal ball in basketball, right? Especially prep school basketball. We have families out there all over the world since the beginning of time trying to figure out what their next move should be, whether it's which high school to attend, which AAU team to play for, which prep school to attend, which college to attend, which agent to hire if you decide to go pro. There is no crystal ball, right? You have to make the best decision possible. And what I want to talk about in this conversation is that crystal ball for the prep school world. My job at Prep Athletics is to take all the prep schools out there, and when a family reaches out to me, I'm going to look at how good the kid is on the court, in the classroom, what they're interested in after the prep school experience as far as college goes and a playing experience, and what kind of experience they want when they get to a prep school. With that, I go from that 100 prep schools and try to find 3 to 5 schools that will be a good fit for that player. Now, if they talk to these coaches, if they do their due diligence, part of what they're trying to decide on is what's going to be the best fit for this prep school year or years, right? And the same could be true for AAU, college, picking up an agent, et cetera. But we're just going to focus on prep school today. And I've come to a lot of situations where families are torn between prep schools. They like both of them, or they're really getting in the weeds, looking at they have this class, they don't have that class. The biggest thing I say over and over again is to choose the prep school based on a player's relationship to the coach. Now, that's mainly for a post-grad year. If you're going for multiple years, yes, absolutely. Look at the coach, make sure the relationship is good, and you want to get in the foxhole with that person. And if you're going for multiple years, you might also want to look more academics, distance, culture, etc. But for post-grad year, it's a 9-month business trip. To me, the most important part is the coach. But I've had many families come down to 2 schools or sometimes 3 where they love all the coaches and they get kind of paralyzed on making the right decision. Which one's going to be the right choice for my son? If you're a player, which one's going to be the right choice for me to help me get to the level I want to get to? And there is no crystal ball. So what do I say to that? I say do as much due diligence as possible, right? Don't overdo it, right? You don't want to look at too much minutia, but talk to people. Look at the website. Talk to people who have gone, who are there currently. Talk to people who have been there and moved on. Do your research. Reach out to people that maybe the coaches aren't suggesting, but you can do your research. There was a guest we had in our podcast named Kirsten Jones, and her podcast was great because she sent 2 of her sons to prep school, and I think she got a list of 20 schools from her AAU coach, her son's AAU coach out in California. And she started researching, started making calls, started talking to these coaches, having her sons talk to these coaches. And with her due diligence, she picked the right fit for one son. And then for her second son, they made another pick, but it was based on that previous due diligence they did. But then again, you can do all your due diligence. You can listen to your gut. We have no idea how this prep school experience is going to turn out for you. In the 16 years I've done this, I've had one kid actually who did it and blew out a knee before his last year even started. That can happen. That's a risk you're taking. You're risking that other players get recruited ahead of you and you won't play as much. You're risking that you won't get a scholarship out of this because that's how the market is these days. There's a lot of things that happen in life, such as getting married, such as moving to a new location for a job, such as starting a company. You don't know how it's going to end. But my point in all this is that's a good thing. Right? You don't want to know how the movie ends before you go and sit in the seat, right? You want to go through this experience with open eyes, with an open heart, and see what comes of it. My prep school experience, which I've talked about many times on here, I went to a military academy's prep school. I did not want to be in the military. I did not want to go through basic training. I didn't want to have to cut my hair, wear a uniform, march. But that's what I did to go to prep school at the Air Force Academy's prep school before playing at the Air Force Academy because that was my only option at the time, right? We didn't have money to go to a normal prep school in New England. And in fact, I didn't know about them. I knew about Lawrenceville because a representative came to our house one morning and discussed it with us. And I think that was because Rick Pitino suggested it because I played basketball with Rick Pitino's oldest son, Michael, in high school. So I think they came from Rick, but my dad wasn't going to pay that money. So I had to go to a prep school that was free. So I didn't have a choice. It was pretty much, you're going to Air Force. And I made the best of it, made the best friends of my life, got better, more mature, improved my grades, got 20 pounds stronger. So that's what can happen without having options and with just kind of going in wanting to have a goal. But working with prep athletics, I'm going to give you multiple schools that are good fits. You got to take a leap of faith, right? So this is just a reminder. This can be applied with marriage. It can be applied with picking a college, picking an agent, picking a high school, picking an AU team. Families are really strung up these days and anxious about making the right pick every single time. You might make a mistake. I've said many a times on here, I transferred halfway through my sophomore year of high school because my first high school that I went to, I took Russian class to be able to go to this public school that was known for its basketball. And it turned out not to be the right fit for me until I transferred to a better fit. So you can make changes these days. You can make changes in high school. You can change AU teams. You can change prep school teams. You can change college teams. You can change jobs. You can find a new romantic partner. Nothing is permanent. But I want you to make the best choice the first time, but just know it's not life or death. Follow your gut. You don't know what's going to happen, but the more due diligence you do, the more looking into things, the more talking to people you do. And, me, if you work with me, I can guide you on making the best possible decision with the information you have. Then you'll be in a good spot. So the whole point of this quick podcast was just to let listeners out there know it's going to be all right. Do the best you can. You're looking at prep school basketball, you're going to have an advantage and an opportunity that a majority of people around the world aren't going to have. So even if it's not the perfect situation, it's still very good for getting you to the next level and giving you so many skills that you would not have had otherwise. So let's be grateful for that. Know you've got a great opportunity and do the best you can. If you knew what the ending was going to be, it wouldn't be as great. So just a little thing I wanted to share with you guys today. I just read an article about it that's on the website. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you at a normal podcast in the near future. Thanks so much.